Okay, so earlier I made a post on my YouTube saying that the Loma and the Tank fight shouldn't take place, and this was before um, things came out about, I guess, Loma saying that he wasn't ready or whatnot. I haven't even looked into it because I wanted to address what I thought before I even looked into it. And then right after that, I think something about Lomachenko and Stevenson came back up. I saw someone with a post about that. I haven't even looked into it because I wanted to address what I said before any of those things were posted. Um, Here's why I think Tank should take the rest of the year off. He deserves it, right? He's been in out of the top, let's just say top six. Out of the top six, he's been in the second most 12 bout fights. He's the biggest pay-per-view draw, biggest star in boxing. He shouldn't be out there fighting for his next opponent should have at least two belts for him. His next opponent should have at least two belts for him. And here's how I think it might play out. Here's how I think the fights should be made, and then I'll also give you how I believe it will play out. All right, so I think Shakur Stevenson has unfinished business with Top Rank. Why does Stevenson have unfinished business with Top Rank? He should have a chip on his shoulder because uh, Lomachenko was able to come into the game getting a title fight when he had to work up to getting a title fight. So there should be a chip on the shoulder of Stevenson for that reason, because he's supposed to be, if he's the best, he's supposed to be the number one guy coming out of Top Rank. He doesn't even have as many 12 bout fights as Lomachenko. Lomachenko in the lightweight division has the most 12 round bouts. He has 17 12-round bouts. You see, Stevenson only has 8. You see? So Loma has more than half. More fights that are 12-round bouts when it comes to Stevenson. You see? What does that mean? That means Lomachenko has been in the ring 17 times to be tested in 12-round bouts, which are pay-per-view bouts. You can't do pay-per-view if you're not going to do 12 rounds. You see? That's what makes you a star. Yet Loma, for some reason, is not a pay-per-view star. And he's been in more 12-round bouts than Tank. He was a champion for, it seems like, everybody in the lightweight division. And he had big talk around his name early off. Why? Because of his affiliation with Top Rank. Of course, they have more real estate in the boxing world. Now, the first fight out of the top six, let me just say top six, right? Or let's just say belt holders and people who are worthy of a bout, um, with Tank. We're gonna still put Tank at number one because he's the biggest pay-per-view draw, and everybody wants the biggest payday, especially today. Even though people are worried about belts, the reason they're worried about these belts is because they need leverage. They couldn't have the career that Tank had. Why? Because Floyd Mayweather was responsible for making Tank a star. Floyd Mayweather is and was responsible for making Gervonta Tank Davis a star. You see? So because they didn't have the help of a Floyd Mayweather and a Leonard Ellerbe and Al Heyman, then they need leverage. Devin Haney needed the leverage. Shakur Stevenson needs leverage. Loma needs leverage, but I believe Loma's almost done anyway. Even Zepeda, who fights out of Golden Boy. I mean, this guy is... Let me just continue. Now, Loma versus Stevenson should happen first. That's the first thing. Loma should be A side. Stevenson should be B side. Anything other than that is going to be bullying, right? I think it would just be about, okay, Loma got bullied out of being the A side. Loma should be the A side. He's been a champion more than Shakur has at the lightweight division. He has a belt now. He has more 12 round bouts. He's been in the marketing at a higher level than Stevenson. I mean, you name it. He's probably done more pay-per-view numbers than Stevenson as well. So there is no reason that if Loma and Stevenson fights, Stevenson should be the A side. It should be Loma. As a matter of fact, Shakur Stevenson should want Loma to be the A side. Not for the purse size, of course, for the marketability after the fight. Because this is a decrowning. This is an uncrowning moment for Loma at Top Rank. You see? So now what Stevenson needs to do is go ahead and sign a one-fight deal. He should sign a one-fight deal with Bob Arum, Top Rank, just so that he can fight Loma. He should, whatever it takes, he should make it happen, because they should tag the fight as unfinished business. You see? Because that's exactly what it is. It's unfinished business. Stevenson has a chip on his shoulder. He's coming in on the B side, and he wants Loma's belt. You see? So now this will be a fight for the IBF and the WBC. You see? So if Stevenson wins, then he has the IBF. Now he has 2 belts. If Loma wins, now he has the WBC. He has 2 belts. Now they have more leverage for the Tank fight. You see? Now, I'm going to lean towards Stevenson winning, because that's my guy. I got him picked. That's how I think it will play out if they fight. But that's not to knock Loma, because Loma could still win. Loma's a good fighter. The next fight that should take place, once again, Tank should take the rest of the year off, because there's a lot of things going on that need to be settled out before he even decides who he fights next. He's the king of the division, hands down. No matter if he's not undisputed or not. All of them are trying to become undisputed, but Tank is the king of the division, because when you fight Tank, you get the biggest payday. You see? The fight with Tank, if a fighter fights Tank for a belt and he has a belt as well, they forget about the belts, because they're going to be paid so much for the fight. It's a money fight. It's a money grab. So Tank is number 1. All right, so the next fight that should take place, first of all, they need to kill this. Stevenson should never sign with Golden Boy. That is a waste of time. Not to say that Golden Boy couldn't do something for Stevenson, but it is a waste of time on his line, on his timeline. I believe Stevenson needs to get to Floyd Mayweather as fast as possible, while Floyd Mayweather is reorganizing his empire. I think Stevenson and Ryan Garcia need to get to Floyd Mayweather as fast as possible. Why? Because they are the next in line to be the Tank Davis. Tank Davis needed Floyd Mayweather, and he existed in Floyd Mayweather's last before he started to reorganize things. Now the next person to sit at the top of the throne at the Floyd Mayweather empire will have the exact blueprint that Floyd Mayweather had that made him a bigger star. You see? Of course, Leonard Ellerbe was always in the mix. He's a great hype man CEO. He's a hype man CEO. He will sell the fight. He will make you believe in his fighters. And he will explain why. You see? All right, yes. All right, so Schaefer, right? So if you have Schaefer in your corner, right? Schaefer's gonna build a bigger business for Floyd Mayweather. He's gonna get the best bouts possible for Floyd Mayweather and whoever decides to sit at the top of that kingdom as a boxer, right? Two different weight classes. These guys should stop talking about fighting. Shakur Stevenson needs to stop talking to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia needs to stop talking to Shakur Stevenson. They need to get away from each other. Why? Because Ryan Garcia is going to be a bigger star at a heavier weight, and Shakur Stevenson will be a bigger star at a lighter weight. They need to stay separate. They don't need to fight because they're going to mess things up. Now, Zepeda sitting over at Golden Boy, it's a bad deal, right? De La Hoya wants Shakur Stevenson, hands down. He wants Shakur Stevenson. So much so that he said he has to sign with his company in order to fight his fighter. Fine, cool, whatever. Take that same blueprint, because if it's possible with De La Hoya, it should be possible with Top Rank. So go tell Top Rank that you want a one-fight deal to fight Loma. You see? So that fight can happen. Forget about Zepeda. Zepeda is not on your radar right now. Zepeda is a bigger fighter than you. Not a better fighter, but a bigger fighter. This man has 31 wins and no losses. He is literally Tank competition. Tank level competition. Why? Because Tank has 30 wins and no losses. Let me just stop, because that's where I was going to move in later on. So the next fight needs to be after Loma and Stevenson fight. Remember, these will be Loma and Stevenson. They both fought this year, so they can fight in December. It'll be 2 fights, right? Now let's talk about Zepeda. Zepeda is the Mexican fighter that is over at Golden Boy, and then all right. So after Loma versus Stevenson happens, or maybe somewhere at the same time, because they both have enough time to get ready for a fight in December, or it can be early January. Who knows? I think Zepeda and Baranchyk should fight. Why should Zepeda and Baranchyk fight next? That's a great question. Now, Baranchyk, they got him ranked at like number 6 on boxing record. He has a belt. You see? Even though Zepeda is ranked higher and he has 31 bouts and he's a good fighter and whatnot, never been defeated, Baranchyk has a belt, Zepeda doesn't. Going back to Stevenson, even the fight between Stevenson and Zepeda is a bad look, because how can Zepeda have 31 bouts and no belt to fight for when it's time to fight Stevenson? You gotta have a belt. Stevenson is fighting for belts, so you gotta have a belt. It would only be for bragging rights if they fought. If Stevenson won, it would have only been for bragging rights, which means it would have been a wasted fight. Right now is the fight for belts. So Zepeda fights Baranchyk and gets his opportunity at having the WBO, right? So which way does it go? I'm not sure, but let's just say Zepeda wins and gets the WBO. Now you have either Loma or Stevenson with the IBF and WBC, and you have Zepeda with the WBO. Now comes Tank in. Now here comes Tank next year, 2025, ready for his first, I would say first opponent. First opponent, maybe not first opponent. Yeah, maybe not first opponent. As a matter of fact, I think there would be a different fight to happen, and I think it would be between. You hear that music in the background? That's the vehicle next to me. They've been playing the music loudly ever since I've been out here. Uh, Whatever. But anyway, so Maratella. I think Raymond Maratella, because he is top 5. But okay, so I think the winner of the Loma Stevenson should fight Maratella. Why? Here's why they should fight Maratella. All right, so Raymond Maratella is ranked number 3 in the U.S., right? But here's the thing with Maratella. Maratella only has 21 bouts, but he's won them all. And the worst thing about Maratella is he's never been in a 12-round bout. So he's kind of like a wild card. So whoever wins out of Loma and Stevenson should fight Maratella, and that would be Maratella's wild card, because how is he number 3 in the States and number 5? I think he's number 5. How is he number 5? Maratella, how is he number 5 in the world and he's never had a 12-round bout? You see? So he would be like a wild card. So whoever wins the IBF and the WBC fights Maratella, gives him a chance, and he could possibly win both those belts and be mentioned later type thing. But I think he would get beat by Stevenson. Stevenson would beat him, right? So Stevenson would wind up having the IBF and the WBC. There is no one else to fight. So that will be the best fight for Stevenson if he beats Loma and gets the IBF and WBC, because he's not ready to fight Tank yet at this time. Nor is Zepeda at this time, even though Zepeda has a belt. The very next fight, not the very next fight for Tank, maybe another fight, and then he fights Zepeda. I think that'll be a bigger fight than Stevenson and Tank. The Zepeda fight will be a bigger fight for Tank because of the record. Tank probably would be 31-0 then if he fights someone else, and then you would have Zepeda at 32-0. You see? So now you got 2 guys. They're seasoned, right? Even though Zepeda would probably have 8 12-round bouts by then, but they're both undefeated. Their records are both past 30, right? So off record alone, being 32-0 and 31-0, which I believe that will be the future record for them if they fight at this time, off record alone, this makes for a better pay-per-view bout. I don't think the pay-per-view buyers are ready to see will come out more than Mexican fighters will, and U.S. fighters, not Mexican fighters, but Mexican fans will, and U.S. fans will, for a Tank versus Zepeda fight. I mean, just think about it. That's De La Hoya. That's De La Hoya's protege. That's his biggest fighter right now. That's De La Hoya's protege versus Floyd Mayweather's protege, even though Floyd Mayweather's protege has already leveled up and branched out on his own, which speaks volumes when it comes to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was able to take Tank Davis under his wing, make him a pay-per-view star, and now Tank Davis is able to go out, be his own man, be his own boss, hire his own CEO, and keep going type thing. Of course, there may be some bad blood on Tank's side, and I think it's because of marketing. But there is no bad blood on Floyd Mayweather's side because he does not look at Tank like an opponent. He looks at Tank like someone he invested his time, money, energy into, and it worked out. He's the biggest star in boxing right now. I mean, you got to remember, these are fighters, so they're always going to be at odds with somebody. And it's not about hate. It's not about jealousy. It's just they are fighters. That's what they do. They fight. So they want to fight. They want to fight on conversation. They want to fight about this. They want to fight about that. But it takes a higher level of discipline, like Floyd Mayweather has been able to display, to show these fighters that there is more at stake and they need to go get more for what they bring to the table. And I think he did. I think he did a great job with Gervonta Tank Davis, and I do think Gervonta Tank Davis is using this supposed conflict between him and Mayweather as extra marketing for the next stage that is to come, that I believe is happening when Floyd Mayweather gets his next fighter to sit on the throne at Mayweather Promotions. You see. So let me put my window up because now I think this music just might be affecting this recording too much. All right, as you can see, I'm in the car right now. Recording. 3 channels started. Now, so going back. All right, so going back to the Zepeda and Tank fight. So after the Loma Stevenson for the IBF WBC, and then whoever wins that fight goes out and fights, or whoever wins that fight gives Martella a chance, since he's in the ranking. Give him a chance. He's the next best opponent. After that fight, right, happens. Not after that fight, because before that fight, the Zepeda and Berichek fight should happen for the WBO. And I think most likely Zepeda will win because he's more seasoned. He has 31 bouts before this fight takes place, if it takes place the right way. So he wins that fight. So now Zepeda has the WBO. Stevenson has the IBF and WBC. So now those are 3 belts right there. And then Tank, Tank already has the WBA. So after fight number 1, Loma and Stevenson, is fight number 2, Zepeda and Berichek. After that comes then fight number 3 takes place, which is for the wild card. I want to say wild card. Martella would be a wild card because he has no belts. He's never had a 12-round bout, but they're going to give him a chance because he's in the rankings, right? There is no better guy to fight, so he gets the chance. He loses, of course. He loses to Stevenson. So Stevenson retains the IBF and the WBC. You want Stevenson to fight a ranked fighter to build the fight in the best way possible. So when Stevenson wins, he retains the IBF and WBC. Now he has to wait because he doesn't want to lose those belts. He wants to wait. He doesn't want to give anyone else a chance at those belts other than Tank. So hopefully he's not issued some type of mandatory. So he waits for the Tank fight. Meanwhile, Tank is fighting Zepeda. That's the bigger fight. It's the bigger pay-per-view draw. It builds a better story. Here are the stories. Someone's O has got to go. That's a storyline right there. That's a tag. Another tag. The Proteges. That's another tag. Once again, even though Tank is out on his own now, he's still a protege. He's just a bigger protege. That's how big he is now. You see, it's kind of like if you pay attention to music, at one point Kanye West was signed to Rockefeller Records. Kanye West became the bigger star faster than any other artist was on Rockefeller Records. And he goes out, he has his own label, he signs his own artists, yet he still says he's Rockefeller. You see? So that's kind of like Tank. He leaves Mayweather Promotions, and he goes out and he starts his own promotional company in a sense where he can be independent. Yet everybody knows his lineage. You see, everybody knows where he came from, type thing. So he's still a protege. So that's two bills. Somebody's always got to go at the protege fight, and also for bragging rights, right? Floyd Mayweather and De La Hoya, right? Kind of like when they were both signed to Top Rank, and when they left Top Rank, they finally got the opportunity to fight each other, when that's what Floyd Mayweather wanted when he was at Top Rank. So it's a lot of bills for that. More pay-per-view buys will happen. And plus, oh yeah, don't forget, Zepeda's a Mexican fighter, so the Mexican fans are gonna pay for that fight. And then the US fans are gonna pay for that fight. So it's a big fight. Now, after that fight takes place, whoever is the winner, right? Zepeda could win, but I think it would be Tank. Tank would beat him, right? So when Tank beats Zepeda, or if Tank beats Zepeda, he will then have 2 belts. Now you see where I'm going. This is how Stevenson leverages himself up. So now you have Tank with 2 belts. He has the WBO and the WBA. He only needs the IBF and the WBC. Who holds that? Stevenson. So now he has to go get the IBF and the WBC from Stevenson. Why do I say go get it from Stevenson? Because the bill has to be Stevenson on the defense and Tank on the offense. Why? Because everybody already knows that Stevenson has a boring style, just like Floyd Mayweather. Stevenson can't come on the offense. He has to stay on the defense. He has to prove that Tank can't beat him. Tank has to prove that he can beat him, type thing, right? Tank has to prove that he can beat Stevenson. Stevenson has to prove that Tank can't beat him, right? And that's how that fight will be made. And I think if they do it this way, it'll be a mega pay-per-view buy. It will probably reach the numbers of the Ryan Garcia, of the Tank versus Ryan Garcia fight. I believe it will, if it's sold correctly. But once again, this is like a year and a half right here, maybe 2 years in the making. So who knows what is to come out, what is to take place between all of this time. But if it plays out somewhere around the lines of this, I think you will get, number one, 2 great pay-per-view fights, whether they both take place in 2025 or not. But there would be 2 more great pay-per-view fights for Tank, right? He's the pay-per-view star. He deserves to have the biggest fights made, so that works. So if it happens like that, it works out for him. All right, so I'm going to end this recording right here. I want to touch it up a bit because I had some things in it that I want to take out, and then I'll post it up. All right, so thanks for listening. This is Consider This, and you can listen to and find more content on my Twitter page at Consider This AMC.